Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. With gas prices rising and the affordability crisis getting worse, the Trump administration is now in full damage control mode. But the spin is not going well, and even Fox News has begun highlighting the economic mess. At the White House, correspondent Peter Doocy pressed Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on the Iran war and the impact on gas prices.
Secretary Bessent, it doesn't sound like we're going to have $3 a gallon gas by summertime, which we had initially been told by the Energy Secretary. He now says that it would be very aggressive if we're going to get to the $3 a gallon gas by the summer. So when are we really going to get $3 a gallon gas?
Well, I think that's going to be up to how the negotiations go. President Trump said this morning that he thinks we're nearing the end. The U.S. kept their side on the ceasefire. We've stopped firing. The Straits of Hormuz have not been completely reopened. So we will see.
We will see. Well, before the Trump administration launched the war against Iran, causing Iran to bottle up the Strait of Hormuz, gas prices in the United States averaged $2.98 a gallon. Now, gas prices average $4.18 a gallon. And with each passing day that the Persian Gulf remains blocked, oil prices are rising. Scott Bessent, however, says he has been meeting with his international colleagues and is optimistic a breakthrough is coming soon.
It's Bank Week here in D.C., so I've been meeting with a lot of my Middle Eastern counterparts, the finance ministers, and they all say that once the straits are open, they can start pumping again within 1 week.
So not by summer, like Memorial Day, but maybe by Labor Day?
Again, I'm optimistic that sometime between June 20th and September 20th that we can have $3 gas again. And as I said this morning, too, we are going to be watching the gas stations because they raise prices very quickly when when the crude oil prices went up. We hope they'll bring them down just as quickly.
Oh, I bet you hope they come down just as quickly. Donald Trump's approval rating on the economy has crashed to just 30% in most polls, an all-time low. Nearly 70% of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy, and most of that has been fueled by higher gas prices. Bessent mentioned September the 20th, 2 weeks after Labor Day, and technically the beginning of fall, as when he's optimistic gas prices per gallon will start with a 3. Well, here's another date the Trump administration is focused on. November the 3rd. That is election day for the fall midterms. And at the moment, most polls predict a Democratic tsunami wiping out Republican control of the House and the Senate. Another Fox News host, Ainsley Earhardt, pointed to the squeeze on voters and families from soaring child care costs.
It's expensive to raise a child.
How expensive,
It's
Ainsley?
gone up 30%, actually, nearly 30% over the past 3 years. It costs more than $300,000 to raise a child in the United States nowadays.
So apparently it's all about where you live. And the most expensive places are Hawaii, Maryland, and Massachusetts. Okay. Of course, the South, you get a break. $17,000 in Mississippi, Alabama, $18,000 in South Dakota, $18,000.
So that's over the course of 18 years,
Correct.
Right?
For the first 5 years.
Right, but since 2023, they say the cost of raising a kid is up 27%.
In just the last 3 years, the average cost of raising a child in the United States has gone up by 27%. Clothes, food, childcare, healthcare, and transportation costs are all up by double digits. So you can understand why a lot of families, and even some hosts on Fox News, are stressed out and angry at our political leaders. And even though we keep hearing from the Trump administration that average working wages have gone up, well, that increase has not kept up with the rising cost for most goods. Thus, the affordability crisis. And it's intensifying, and it's especially painful for families with children. And even the experts on Fox Business News say there is no relief in sight.
Do you see any improvement in the affordability picture?
No, Stuart, unfortunately I don't, because here you have a scenario where with oil prices as high as they are for as long as they've been, which which from the standpoint of affordability, we're looking at the cost of building new homes. And oil is so central to that. So now that oil is where it is, it's going to cost more to build these new homes. And as long as it costs more and there's less supply, it's going to mean that less people are going to be able to afford homes. And at this stage of the game, as Todd mentioned and you mentioned in your take, it's that affordability is a central issue. And unfortunately, affordability is still out of reach for a lot of people, especially the first-time home buyers. So I think unless oil prices come down dramatically, and because oil affects everything from lumber, diesel in terms of transport, steel, everything. And with those commodities as high as they've been, nobody's going to want to build houses.
Many conservatives keep arguing that all of the economic pain, the home prices, costs of raising children, transportation, and inflation, that it's all worth it because of the benefit in keeping Iran from a nuclear weapon. But even if Iran is stopped from producing nukes and becomes less of a threat in the Middle East and stops sponsoring terrorism, the benefit will be to future generations, maybe. At the moment, none of those goals with Iran have been met. And the generation of Americans getting squeezed by higher prices right now, that generation has had enough. And even if gas prices do come down to $3 a gallon by the end of the summer, Americans are facing other affordability problems as well. And the Trump administration is running out of time. A political wipeout is coming. Even Fox News sees it and is taking note of the calendar. Did you know that the big wireless carriers like Verizon and AT&T made over $18 billion in profit last year? How? By overcharging you for unlimited data, most of which you probably aren't even using. But what if you could get paid to use your phone less and only pay for the data you do use? Well, with Noble Mobile, you can. For just $50 a month on their No Bull plan, you get unlimited data, and whatever data you don't use, you get cash back right in your pocket. People who switch to Noble can save an average of $500 to $1,000 a year. It's a no-brainer. And by switching to Noble, you're directly supporting TYT and our mission of bringing you honest, independent news. So give Noble a try and make the switch today. Scan the QR code on the screen now or visit go.tyt.com/plan. That's go.tyt.com/plan. By the way, C-SPAN, with its straight-laced approach, has become comedy gold lately in covering Donald Trump.
C-SPAN, bringing you democracy unfiltered. President Trump spoke to reporters outside the Oval Office after having McDonald's delivered via the online food ordering service DoorDash. He then took questions from reporters on several topics, including the ongoing conflict with Iran and a recent Truth Social post depicting himself as Jesus, which he denies, saying he thought it depicted him as a doctor.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.